Americano, please.
Yeah, what's that?
Grande. With just a tiny bit of steamed oat milk on the top.
Can I get your name as well, please?
Of course. Hailley.
415. Just here.
I drink a lot. Yeah, I drink well, I don't know the exact number, but it depends on the day. I think this would be cup number 3 or 4. I'm not sure, I lost count. I feel like a movie star. So this is Queen Street Station. The subway's like right down there. They've built this like whole underground city in Toronto, which is it's actually really cool. On the really cold days, you don't even have to like walk outside half the time. You can just like go underground. My mom is a social worker. She just likes, that's her like profession. She does other types of therapy actually, so she doesn't necessarily practice social work. She just loves helping wherever possible. So there's one thing I can add about my dad. He was a teacher back in the States. He was doing special ed, but it's really hard to survive on that back home. And my dad's a technical writer. He also has a passion for writing. So he also writes books on the side, which is really cool. Everyone always asks me like how Florida is. I have absolutely no idea. When I was 2, my parents moved to Israel, so that's actually where I grew up. I was a barista beforehand, like, you know, between school jobs and stuff like that. Well, I started studying engineering, deciding to like do a spontaneous trip to New York. But it was like semi-spontaneous because New York's actually like obviously an expensive city, so I knew I was gonna have to save up a lot of money. When I ended up moving, I knew I needed to find a job, and that's how I ended up actually starting like in the industry. I started applying online. And then I got reached out to by the company, and like back in New York. Like, I don't have nothing to lose. Like, let me check it out and see how it goes. And I ended up doing it. I remember for my first round interview, I was actually in the lobby. I was the only person in jeans. Everyone else was just in a suit because I didn't know what business professional was. It doesn't exist back home. I was like, I'm down to try. I need to do something, so might as well. And that's how I started. It was supposed to be for 6 months because I was supposed to go back home afterwards, and I just ended up staying long term. Yeah, 7 years later. This is, I think it's the old City Hall, but I'm not sure. But it's a very pretty building. I was actually quite shy. It was like hard for me to carry out many conversations or interact with people, even like make proper eye contact. Brought up, I guess, quite sheltered. There was a lot of learning curves to do just from the fact of like, what we do is talking to people all day. Even like having just enough self-confidence to be able to know that I can train effectively or run a team and stuff like that. It was just a lot of like mentality development. I never doubted my work ethic. Even back home, I was like working for like 16 hours a day to try and save up enough money to make it in New York, even just for 6 months. So I never doubted my work ethic. I never doubted the fact of how much I like love to learn, and developing the right mentality towards I'm able to do this and I can be like good at it too. And I just had to do a lot of work. There's a lot of like really happy memories. I remember the day that I got like promoted, like the day I promoted my first leader, and even like smaller things like conquering the field basically. Even if I was like scared or terrified of the idea of doing something, or like wasn't sure if I'd be good at it or not, I was always willing to like try. But even when things didn't come naturally, I was always down to like to do it, to like give it a shot, learn it, to grow from there. Like I wasn't the best in the field when I first started. I was okay with battling it or pushing through that, and I was okay with overcoming those small obstacles. Even when people who had a lot more experience than me or a lot more confidence, they said that they didn't want to try things like interviewing or taking out new trainees, I was always the yes person. And it's all about coaching and developing to be great and like the best version of themselves, however, whatever that might be. And it's not about like telling people what to do. People don't respond to that. It's about working together towards being something great or bigger. So this is Nathan Phillips Square. It's also the famous Toronto sign, and it's absolutely gorgeous around here. They also have, one of my other favorite things is they have all the flags from everywhere in the world, or I don't know if everywhere, but a lot of places in the world. They're like all up there. Toronto is such an international place that it's like everyone has a little bit of representation, at least that way. But I want to make sure that my family is happy and set. It's one of like the most important things for me. My mom's into therapy and she loves doing all this work. She wants to have her own practice, and I would love to help her out around that. Her biggest goal is making sure people are okay, they feel loved, they feel appreciated. My dad, he wants to publish a book, maybe sneak and like take it one day and just go publish it for him. For my brother, he wants to open up a coffee shop of his own one day. I would love to be able to help him out with that. My sister, I just want to make sure that she's happy. She's not really mentioned any of like specific goals. Real estate is one of the things that gets me really excited, and I would love to be able to find a way to be more successful in that area. Whatever you end up doing, it should just make you happy, no matter what the world says. Be okay with being yourself and do what makes you happy, but also push yourself to what your limits are. I think it's important to remember you can always push yourself to your limits, no matter whatever those limits are to you. Awesome, so let's bring it in. We're gonna break on hard work. Are we ready? Yeah. Okay.